Welcome to the Warrior Word, the first and final word on Warrenton High School athletics. The Warrior Word is brought to you by Warrenton Kia and heard exclusively on 106.3 The Beach.
Welcome to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia, and also thanks to these supporting sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlet. I'm Sean O'Connor, talking to Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, on all things Warriors winter sports now. And we now have some games to talk about with both the boys and girls basketball teams, and the wrestling team also got going last week, I believe. So we'll jump right in here and start talking about boys and girls basketball. And the boys team got off to a pretty good start this weekend, Robert.
Yeah, both the programs played Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, we played some different opponents. Friday night, we started off at home. Both the boys and girls program versus Waldport. Was the first time in numerous years that we had a sweep. We won both JV games and both varsity games, which was nice. It's a good program boost. We had some ones that were close last year where we maybe won both varsities but didn't get a JV or whatever. But that was a good stepping stone, a good momentum boost for us as a program. Obviously, to start out your home opener with 4 wins is exciting. The boys team played pretty well. Watching the varsity game this past Friday versus Waldport, I thought they did a lot of things really well. I thought they played really, really hard. In particular, I thought that they shot the ball better around the hoop than they have in years past. I thought they attacked the hoop a lot more and tried to get some easy buckets, especially when kind of traditionally they're thought of as a team that likes to kind of jack up threes. Instead, I felt like they really attacked the rim. In particular, Christian Holt, I thought got to the hoop a lot more than he has in years past. Really had a mindset that he was going to get there. And it really, opened up the rest of the stuff for them. Tyler Whitaker had a good game on Friday. And it was a situation that against a team that I think, is pretty similar to what they were last year, beat us to open the year in the boys' side by 15 or so down at Vernonia last year. Our boys came out and they were able to win 46-34 in a game that was about 10 points throughout. It was, a little bit closer for a while there in the second period. And then the third and fourth quarters, they were able to separate and kind of keep it at 10-12 for most of the game. And it was really a team effort, not just Christian and Tyler, but Logan Fisher, I thought, played pretty well. Unfortunately, did get in a little bit of foul trouble. Nathan Ozagara got to get in a little bit, which was exciting. Got to watch him. Really has developed into a better basketball player. Dalton Knight, who didn't play early, came in the third quarter, shot the ball pretty well off the bench. Did some really good things for us from the offensive side of things. Raymond Alcanbenez, I thought, while his shots maybe weren't falling, I thought it was one of the better basketball games I've seen him play. It seemed like he was really everywhere, especially in that early second quarter, third quarter time period. Felt like he was involved in tons of plays, whether on the receiving end of passes or setting up plays or on the defensive end. Really was a good thing to see from him. I thought that Ryan Fowler played a particularly strong game for him, really in his first major varsity minutes. A kid who played a lot of JV last year, stepping up as a junior this year, actually started the game and I think did a very nice job in that role for Coach McBride. Just a team effort across the board. Devin Jackson, as a freshman, was the first kid off the bench, came in, worked really hard, and I could go down the list even more, but the bottom line is that a good team effort to start out the season, picked up a good win for them. That springboarded them into a tough contest on Saturday with a walkout. Their boys program's vastly improved. Their team beat us by 1 last year, I think at the buzzer. Unfortunately this year they were able to beat us 50-38 this past Saturday at Warrenton. Putting them at 3-0 in the year, us at 1-1. A game that we probably shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. Didn't make the plays that we needed to. I was in Junction City playing our game at the time, but talking with Coach McBride and some of the players, just a situation where we had some guys get banged up. Tyler hurt his, I believe, ankle in the second quarter. Didn't play the second half, which from a physicality standpoint really, really hurts us. And we had some other issues, whether it be just missing some open shots that kind of just held us back in a tough game. You got to give Waco credit. You got to nod your hat to them and say, hey, good game. But I think that's a game that we play them maybe 5 or 6 more times. We might go 50-50 if we're playing better. With that said, there is some exciting games coming up for the boys this week. We got 3 games this week, all 3 on the road, going to be a good challenge for us. As of when the show airs, it'll be last night, but as tonight, the boys head to Nacelle in Washington for a 7:30 tip-off. On Thursday, we play our rival Napa at 7:30. Going to be an extremely tough challenge for our boys team. The Napa boys team is very, very good, incredibly talented 2A team, probably one of the top 3 or 4 2A teams in the state. Just didn't beat, but had a very close game with Astoria, and Astoria is pretty good. Napa's going to be tough, and that'll be a very interesting test, I think, for the Warriors on Thursday. And then Friday we head down to Neocani, kicking off the kind of a triple header on the road, all schools that are pretty close to us, and all should be good tests. They're all going to kind of give us different things. I don't know a ton about Nacelle, but Neocani and Napa kind of play different styles, and it should be kind of good from a coaching standpoint for the coaches to see kind of what they need to work on, because of our league, as we always talk about throughout the year on the Warrior Word, being so different in every sport. In basketball, league play actually starts next week. Most leagues don't start league play till the middle of January, which gives them 2 full months to really get ready for league play. For us, we start on the 13th versus Rainier at home, which is a massive, massive league game for both the boys and girls. Rainier's boys are going to be talented, and then on that Thursday they go to Klatskanai, and then the following Monday we have PAA. So we have a situation where by the 19th of December we'll have played 3 important league games. Obviously after the break we have an additional 15, but it's going to be an interesting 13. It's going to be an interesting challenge for the boys this week to try to figure out what they need to kind of fine tune heading into league play next week. Some quick stats on the boys basketball team. Christian Holtz leading the Warriors at 12.5 points a game. Dalton Knight second with 11.5 points a game. He's 7 of 15 from 3. And Tyler Whitaker's averaging 10 points a game. That's it for boys basketball. We'll be back in our next segment to talk about girls basketball and wrestling. Thanks for joining us this week on the Warrior Word.
We'll take a time out here in the Warrior Word, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. And also thanks to our additional sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlet. We'll come back and talk some more Warriors hoops on the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach. And welcome back to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. Their Holidays on Us sales event is happening right now. No payments for 5 months and 0% financing for up to 66 months. Head down to Warrenton Kia and have a little extra spending money this holiday season. That's 5 months, no payments at Warrenton Kia. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Back here on the Warrior Word, talking to Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, and we're getting into the boys and girls basketball schedules right now here as part of the winter sports season. And before we get back to talking about Warriors hoops, Robert, you have the latest student athlete of the week.
Yeah, this week's prep athlete of the week is Rachel Dyer. Rachel has had an incredible first 2 games of her junior year. A kid who didn't play a ton of varsity for us in girls basketball last couple of years. Actually has 10 3-pointers in the first 2 games. Really, her shooting kept us in the Junction City game this past Saturday. Of our first, I think, 16 points, 3 of them were her threes. She had some big threes down the stretch. And a kid who I think's not just developed the ability to shoot the 3, but has really developed as an all-around basketball player. Playing much better defense, much better on the ball, handling the ball a lot better, and very, very deserving of the first prep athlete of the week of the winter sports season. So once again, congratulations to Rachel Dyer. With that said, we're going to talk a little girls basketball now here in the second segment. I do have Krista Morrill and Claire Bussert with me in the booth. A couple of my girls basketball players talking a little bit of Warrior hoops. We did play 2 games this past week. We played Friday versus Waldport and Saturday versus Junction City, and kind of a tale of 2 nights. Friday was a game where we played really, really well, and they didn't play very well, and it ended up being 83-6, a situation where kind of the stars aligned for us, and a game that I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about. We've been on the other end of those things, and it just some nights aren't your night, and that's kind of the way it was. And then we did go on Saturday down to my alma mater at Junction City and played a tough game versus a good 4A school, and lost 63-55. We'll talk about both those games here in a second, but first I'm going to bring Claire and Krista onto the show. Before we talk hoops, Claire, how many days till Christmas?
18.
18 days till Christmas. Pretty exciting stuff. We did kind of start the season, obviously, Friday, Saturday. We got 3 games this week. In your guys' opinion, what went well on Friday and Saturday, and what do we need to improve on? We'll start with you, Krista.
I think we played really well as a team both days. For the Junction City game, we definitely had to change up how we played some since people were in foul trouble, which was not very normal for us. But it was really cool to see how we were able to still stay in the game throughout, even with different people playing than normal. And it's just nice to see how well we're already doing even through the second game.
Absolutely. Claire?
I think this year, and even just since practice started, we've gotten a lot better at controlling the game and, not freaking out and, just coming to each other when we need help doing what we need to do. And I think throughout the season, we'll start working more on getting the ball inside, and because we're a really good shooting team, and I think if we just work on everything, we'll be able to win a lot of games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both those points are very, very accurate. Krista hit on the Saturday game. We did have a lot of foul trouble. Both Claire and Landry picked up 3 early fouls in the first half. Didn't get to play much of the second quarter. Landry actually continued to be in foul trouble the whole game, picked up her 4th 1 minute into the third quarter, and then fouled out 1 minute into the fourth quarter, so played only 2 minutes in the second half. Claire was able to manage her fouls in the second half and play most of the second half, but Tyla picked up her 3rd, 4th, and 5th in about a 4-minute span at the end of the third quarter and beginning of the fourth quarter, which as Krista said, made us have to play the game a little differently than we have before. There haven't been a lot of games in the last 3 years where Tyla and Landry weren't in at the end of the game. So it was interesting, and it was really actually fun for me to watch some kids step up who haven't been in that situation very much. In particular, down the stretch, Sagi Diego had to have had 4 or 5 offensive rebounds, really just fighting down low, had 2 or 3 putbacks that were huge for us. Krista herself, had some big plays down the stretch. Claire takes a little bit more jump shots than she's probably normally would because of personnel, and hit some of those shots to get us back into it. Rachel Dyer had 2 or 3 threes in the fourth quarter that helped us, kind of draw back into that game. And it was an exciting game from a coaching perspective because it was very easy, very easily could turn into a game where we kind of just gave up. We had a terrible third quarter. We got down 20 points. Actually, I think 23 at one point with about 11 and a half minutes to go. And instead of just giving up, we actually cut the lead to 4 with 2.5 minutes to go. And really, if we execute a play a little better, we might have been able to cut it to 1. And that's a testament to how far we've come. As Claire said, we're definitely controlling tempo a lot better. We play a very, very up-tempo game now, a lot more so than we did even last year. From our press stuff, we're pushing it a lot. We're getting early shots, but they're quality shots, and a lot more possessions than we've had in years past. But that's just a testament to the girls and how far they've come with the ability to read plays and make plays, and reactions and cuts and screens and all the other elements of basketball that are starting to become really second nature for them. I was actually talking with my assistant coach Michael Slivkoff yesterday, watching them play 4-on-4, and it's just night and day the reads they can make while playing compared to last year. Last year, it was a struggle. We had a lot of situations where we were just wondering where we're going to get offense from. And now we got, really 9 kids. We can go 9 deep that really understand the game, have really put a lot of work in, and that's just a testament to those kids' character. And we're really, really proud of how far they've come. But obviously, we got to do it on the court now. It's 1-1. We probably could have went 2-0. And we gotta come out this week, and we gotta play 3 really good games against 3 quality opponents in Nacelle, Napa, and Neocani, and hopefully from those games we'll learn what we need to kind of improve on going into next week into league play. Our league on the girls' side of things is particularly challenging. Rainier, Portland Adventist, and Portland Christian have all been state playoff teams the last 3 years, and they basically have everybody back. Klatsk, I think, is going to be improved. Catlin Gable's got some quality players back from last year, and when you go down the list, there's not really any easy games. So should be an interesting year. We'll come back in our final segment, give you a little bit of girls basketball stats, then we'll talk about the Warriors wrestling team. Thanks for joining us this week on the Warrior Word.
This is the Warrior Word, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. And we'll take a time out here and come back and talk more hoops and get into the wrestling schedule next on 106.3 The Beach. Welcome back to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. And also thanks again to our supporting sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlets. Talking to Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director. And we've been talking about Warriors hoops here, first couple of segments on the show. And Robert, you wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about your girls basketball team. You are the head coach, and you've got a couple of your players here in the studio. And now you kind of want to highlight some of these stat leaders this season.
Yeah, just real quick, we'll run through kind of some statistics from the first couple nights. Scoring, our leading scorer right now is Rachel Dyer. She's averaging 16 points a game right now. Second is Tyler Little, averaging 13.5. And then Landry Meathy averaging 11.5. After that, we have Fernanda Alvarez with 8, Katie Blodgett with 6 a game, and Claire Bussert with 5. On the season, Rachel's 10 for 24 from 3, shooting 41%, which is really, really good. Tyler's put in 5 threes, and Landry's put in 2. On the defensive side of things, on the rebounding side of things, we've rebounded the ball as a team really, really well. Nobody's really killing it on the rebounding, but we do have a couple of leaders. Fernanda Alvarez has 14, and Krista Morrill has 12. Just a testament to how hard Krista works. She's definitely not the biggest kid on the floor, but she is second in rebounding for us right now, and that's just a testament to how hard she's working on the O&D boards currently. Right behind her is Sagi Diego with 10 and Katie Blodgett with 9. In our first game, we the stats were very, very padded on the defensive end, especially with the steals. But, in that second game, we really had some good challenges. I thought we played pretty well. And we'll definitely be updating you on stats throughout the season as we go along this week. With that said, one final question for both the ladies this week before I send them on their way. We do have 3 games this week, kind of against 3 local schools that I think are fun for us to play. What are your goals for this week? What do you want to accomplish as we head into Nacelle, Napa, and Neocani? Start this one with Claire.
This week I just really want us to focus on playing our game and not stressing when we get down or just not making our shots, and also staying out of foul trouble.
Absolutely, Krista.
I really want us to just have fun with these games. They're definitely teams that we've played before, and we know some of the people from the teams, and it'll just be fun to see how well we can do against them. And like Claire said, all the other little things like staying out of foul trouble and trying not to get down on ourselves all the time. And I think it'll be a good week.
Absolutely. I love both of those. I don't even need to say anything after that. With that said, we'll transition into wrestling. Our wrestling team did compete twice this past week. They do have their annual Warrenton Wrestling Invitation this week. It is a 10-team tournament that we host this Saturday. Starts at 10 a.m., goes till about 7 p.m. Would love for you guys to come out and support the Warriors this Saturday at home. Teams are Rainier, Clatskanai, Seaside, Astoria, Napa. You also have some of the Washington schools like Wahkiakum and South Bend. It's going to be an exciting tournament. Definitely come out and support the Warriors this Saturday. It's our only home meet of the year. So definitely a chance to see not only the boys, but the girls team, which has been having a lot of success this past week. Come support them. On Thursday, they do have their annual spaghetti feed as well. It's a fundraiser for wrestling, so if you're around, it's a pretty good deal for the family. Come support the Warriors wrestling team through that. This week they wrestled at the Estacada tournament this past Saturday down near Portland. They wrestled in 55 matches. A girls team competed and won more than they lost. Really, the girls team has kicked off into a fantastic year. Asia Lambert's really doing an awesome job. The boys team did exceptionally well in the Napa four-way to open the season last week. Struggled a little bit this past weekend, but we expected that. It's a very young team. Coach Conan and Coach Kleber are working really, really hard with these kids to develop some wrestlers from this young group. And, watching them practice, especially last week, I've been really impressed with their work ethic, their focus. When the coaches are talking, they're plugged in, they're listening, they're trying to do whatever the coaches are talking about. And I think it's going to pay off a lot for them over the next couple years. Thanks for joining us this week on the Warrior Word. We'll be back next week to talk more Warriors hoops and wrestling. We will have 3 basketball games to be talking about, as well as the Warriors Wrestling Tournament, which goes on this Saturday at Warrenton High School. Thank you and have a great week.
That will do it for the Warrior Word this week, brought to you by Warrenton Kia and these supporting sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlet. And this show is also now available on our YouTube podcast archive. You'll find it at Ohana Media Group Coaches Shows on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Well, for Robert Hopeful, I'm Sean O'Connor saying you stay classy, Warrenton, and we'll meet you back here next week on the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach.
This has been the Warrior Word, the first and last word on Warrenton High School athletics. Brought to you by Warrenton Kia. Tune in Wednesdays at 6 p.m. for the Warrior Word, heard exclusively on 106.3 The Beach.